Now that I've listed some of the classic mistakes, let me say a little bit about what I would like you to do on discussion boards and possibly on tests. So I will give you, in certain cases, I'll give you an argument, and I'll identify it as a particular type of argument, rule utilitarian, act utilitarian, etc. So I might give you an argument and say, hey, here's a rule utilitarian argument. From a rule utilitarian perspective, what's wrong with this argument? And what I'm basically asking you to do is spot the classic mistakes. And what I'll ask you to do is spot instances where the person made the mistake and say, this is the mistake the person's making, and this is the type of mistake. So you'll say something like, well, here's a case in which they didn't take into account how people adjust their behavior in response to rules. And you'll say, they made this assumption about how people would behave, but here's how people would actually change their behavior in response to that rule. Or if it's a case when they forgot about cumulative effects, you can say, well, this was a good argument, except that they forgot about cumulative effects, and here's the particular cumulative effects they didn't think about. So again, I'll give you a case, and I'll identify it as a type of argument, and I'll ask you to evaluate the argument and spot the problems from the perspective of that theory. And I should stress, from the perspective of that theory. If I say, what's wrong with this from a rule utilitarian perspective, I'm not asking for all the problems with rule utilitarianism. I'm asking, if we accepted rule utilitarianism for the sake of the argument, why would we still find some problems with this argument? Particularly, where did the person make the classic mistakes that they make when they try to apply rule utilitarianism?